Hey everybody, how you doing? Yeah, that sure was a hockey game, huh? Welcome to PHLY Flyers post-game presented by Bet365. My name is Bill Matz. Joining me in the Xfinity mobile studio, it is Philly's #1 hockey beat reporter, Charlie O'Connor. Wow. The only text Charlie and I exchanged through that slog of a hockey game was, how do we talk for an hour about a game in which nothing happened? And listen, I guess Jason Robertson scoring maybe the most uneventful hat trick ever is a thing that happened. We talked pregame, Charlie, about, listen, if there was ever a scheduled loss, you're up against a legitimate Stanley Cup contender in a road back-to-back with travel. Like, what, 3 out of 4? What are you going to do? Is that kind of just what happened tonight? Because they appeared to have nothing from the jump.
Yeah, my initial thought watching this game was, thank God they won last night. Because the fact that they come away with 2 points in a game where they were down 2 goals twice on Friday night against the Blues, you can at least go home feeling like, all right, well, we held serve. If you lose Friday's game, this game is really painful. Instead, it's a bit easier for you to just be like, yeah, scheduled loss, really good team, bad circumstances. But yeah, it was abundantly clear from the jump that the Flyers did not have jump. They didn't. There was like a brief period in the middle of the second period where you're like, maybe they're getting something going. And then they give up 2 goals. But aside from that little stretch and then a little bit of a surge at the end when they were basically just playing for pride at that point, they just didn't have it. And Dallas is a better team. Dallas is better than the Flyers even when the Flyers have it, and they didn't have it tonight.
Yeah, and that's abundantly clear. Like we talked, they talked all broadcast long about Dallas's record against the Flyers in recent years. They've owned them. And yeah, the Flyers, like we said last night, I wouldn't say this is a team devoid of talent the way it was in the last few years. But when you are up against the Dallas Stars, it's abundantly clear why one team is still like, oh yeah, maybe we're ready to turn the corner and figure out how to win a few more games. And the others, yeah, we're going to sign Mikko Rantanen and be going for it because, we've been to 3 straight Western Conference finals. It was just a terrible game. And I guess like the very first thing you put in the outline, Charlie, is how mad should we be about this one? Not very. But I will point out, it's not like slow starts are an anomaly for this team.
Yeah.
They were under siege in the first period. They got a little something going in the second, like you said. There were a few shifts where it was like, oh, they might get themselves back in this one. And look, the shot total is almost even now after it was 10-3 or whatever it was in the first period. And then they give up some goals and they're basically never in the game. But, I've always heard, and I guess it's different with travel and stuff, but again, it's not as if St. Louis and Dallas are on opposite coasts. Actually, in a back-to-back, you have to weather the storm of the other team because they're, like, more in a rhythm. They're loose because they just played. But, like, after the first period, you have them just out of fatigue. The Flyers were not the looser, more team in a rhythm, even in the first 10, 20 minutes of this.
Yeah, I think the parts about this game that I come away the most irritated by, it's not that they lost to the Stars. Obviously, we've talked about the circumstances. We know how good the Stars are. We know what the Flyers are. The Flyers are not an elite team. They're not. They're not close to the Stars in terms of talent, in terms of experience, in terms of, I know they're getting used to a new coach, but like they've operated at an elite level for a long time. if and when the Flyers do turn the corner from a talent standpoint, it's probably going to take them like a year to learn how to win consistently and actually be a threat. Dallas has been at that level for the past 3-4 years. So it doesn't shock me at all that they lost. What's frustrating to me about this loss is some of the reasons for the loss, and you talked about one, the slow starts, are not unique to this loss. Like, you need to come out stronger. And this has been a problem for the last 2 weeks. They keep coming out flat, and then they play themselves into a game. They hope that Dan Vladar can hold down the fort where they play themselves into the game. That can't keep happening. Like, yeah, you could say it's the second game of back-to-back, but they were doing that with rest too.
Yeah.
So I'm not willing to absolve them. Same deal with the shots on goal. They finished with 21 shots on goal, and you could be like, yeah, they didn't have their legs, travel back-to-back. But again, this has been a recurring issue. The underwhelming number of shots on goal in games has been a problem even when they're rested. So that's why it makes it a little bit tougher for me to accept those. It's like, just circumstances. No, these are recurring issues that, yes, the circumstances made it tougher for them to get shots on goal, made it tougher for them to have their legs to begin the game. But they've had these problems even when they are fully rested. So I don't want to absolve them because these are recurring issues.
And that's the thing, is when we laid out like the parameters of like this kind of being a scheduled loss in the pregame, it was, well, this is the context. So we'll judge it on this context, or at least what we perceive. And there are some things you can just be like, yeah, away she goes. Like, yeah, that's kind of what we expected. And then there's other stuff of, no, this is a different issue. This has something to do with like an issue with the team and not the circumstance. And I think that's where I am with this one. Those are the things that kind of annoyed me about tonight's game.
Yeah. Like, perfect example being, like, they give up a power play goal. Okay, I'm not going to kill them because the penalty kill's been good and Robertson was just rolling.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, like, penalty kill could have done a better job, I guess, on that goal, but it's not a problem. It doesn't annoy me.
No, and they showed the stat, like, not only do the Stars have a 33% power play, it's like 45% at home. Yeah, if you took 2 penalties tonight, there was a good chance you were going to give up a goal no matter how good your goaltending is, because they're the Dallas Stars and you're the Philadelphia Flyers. And that's kind of what we saw. Like, I don't think that is, oh, well, now we got to worry about the penalty kill. Like, no, that's not a concern of mine. My concerns are, why do we keep starting so slow? Like, why do we only have 21 shots on goal? That's not enough, Charlie. Especially considering like one guy who couldn't get on the ice had 5 of those 21. But that's a conversation for a little bit later in the show. I think people will be excited to get into that one. Let's do tonight's game changer, driven by Elkin Chevrolet, because it's nothing good. It's gonna be tonight's game changer. I mean, it was really cool to see, I guess. But Jason Robertson and the Natty Hattie scores that natural hat trick. Tonight's game changer, driven by Elkins. Together, let's drive. Charlie, Jason Robertson, I know it's just at a certain point in a capped league, it's, well, we can't pay everybody, which is the dumbest part about salary caps. Like, you get, punished for being good. But why do they want to get rid of this guy? Or why does it feel like he's the odd man out? Like, it feels like he's the Owen Tippett of the situation. And it's like, but is he like one of their 3 best forwards though? Like, he's awesome. It just kind of seems like there's not room.
Yeah, it's that. I think there are some things about his game that frustrate them. You mentioned Owen Tippett, and look, I'm not making a Jason Robertson Owen Tippett comparison, but it's worth noting that before the game, I believe it was the game in Ottawa. So now he had 1 goal against Ottawa, he had 2 goals against Montreal, he has 3 goals tonight. Before this 3-game run, he went 9 games without a goal. And people were frustrated because it's like, oh, you're supposed to be this great goal scorer, you're supposed to be a 40-goal guy, and you go 9 games without a goal. It's just another example of all goal scorers are streaky. I follow a lot of Dallas Stars people, and that seemed to be like the consensus. I saw like 3 people tweet, goal scorers are streaky. It's just that Jason Robertson is a better all-around player than Owen Tippett, so you're more willing to accept when he goes 7, 8, 9, 10 games without a goal because you know he's going to do this.
Yeah, you just see, and the 3 goals, they all kind of coming a little bit of a different way. There's on the power play, on the rush. Did feel like he got a little bit lucky on that Seguin one where he's Sagan's trying to shoot and the puck just ends up on his stick when Seguin whiffs, but he's in the right spot. Like he's going to the net on the rush. Maybe don't give up a 4-on-2. I don't know. Just a thought on that one. But he was awesome tonight, and he scores the 3 straight. Rupe Hintz gets 1 secondary and 2 primaries on the 3 goals, and I feel like that's one of the things I've heard about Robertson is like he's awesome when Hintz is there. Like, and if Hintz is hurt, it's basically like, yeah, we're missing 2 guys. Like, so maybe that's something, but just watching him tonight, I'm like, yeah, the conversation about him is what? I'll take him. What do you want?
Sure
but
would.
That's tonight's game changer, driven by Elkins Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. Charlie, the bad start, the very few shots, all this. Okay, I see you put the awful line change on the 5th goal. Now it was like they basically just like unplugged their controllers and like the players disappeared and expected to respawn, I guess, in the right position. But there was just some brainless stuff. Like, yeah, you can't help that the Stars are better than you. You can't help that you've played 3 and 4 with 2 travel days. You can like change right?
Yeah. Yeah, that one, it's funny. I became less angry at it when I saw who it was who did it. Because if it was the Couturier line, or if it was we wouldn't have been the Cates line because they wouldn't have made that dumb of a mistake. But if it was the Couturier line, if it was the Dvorak line, I would have been like, oh man, like that's unacceptable. You want your top of the lineup guys not to be doing something that dumb. Once I realized that it was the 4th line and the 3rd pair, it's like, okay, at least it wasn't any of the essential guys, the guys that everybody looks to as examples of what to do and what not to do. Still, like, they don't get that puck deep. They don't get that puck deep enough to do a full like fire wagon change, and they all go off the ice. Like, the guys I felt bad for were Jamie Drysdale, Nick Seeler, and the entire Dvorak line. They all get hit with minuses.
They all
and it wasn't their fault.
No, that's what annoyed me, Charlie, is like, yeah, obviously, if the Zegras line doesn't know how to properly line change, like that's an issue because they get 3 times as many shifts. So like that's way more time for them to screw up. But at the same time, I always feel like bottom of the roster guys can't make mental mistakes.
Yeah, fair.
Like those are things like you are out there and it's not for like your abundance of skill. It's because you're not going to F up. And like once you then saddle the like 5 other guys with a minus because you got off, but like honestly, if it wasn't the 5th goal, maybe I'd be more upset about it. It's just like, you know what? Like Rodrigo Abel's coming off the ice is a good idea at all times. So I'm not really gonna get like mad about when he did it, even if it was ill-timed.
Yeah, it just bothered me. It bothered me because you feel bad for Vladar, you feel bad for the guys that get stuck with a minus, and it's just one of those things where, like, in a game like this where you're probably going to lose, the big concern once you realize that you are indeed going to lose is like, don't embarrass yourself. And I thought, as underwhelming as they were in this game, I didn't think they embarrassed themselves until that change. And it was just like you almost got through the game without doing something really, really egregious, and then all 5 guys on the ice do something really egregious.
I want to take our first ad break in a second, but I just want to say this so I don't forget in between, Charlie. Something Brian Boucher mentioned that really like stuck out to me was, a game like this, you can kind of let it get out of control at a certain point, and it's just, yeah, we're out here just kind of getting our cardio in, and you do want to protect your goalie because a few goals on a few shots can tank your numbers, and that's not cool for anybody. Everybody knows their stats, and everybody wants their stats to be good. I would have liked to see them maybe, the guy who has won them all the games they've won this year outside of 3 shootouts, basically, like maybe go out of your way a little bit to try to keep his head above water. I didn't think he was particularly bad tonight. He just wasn't, after the first period, the Vladar who has kind of dominated for them, for lack of a better word. He wasn't that guy. And maybe you could have helped him out a little bit at different times, but We'll talk about it on the other side. Right now, I got to tell you about Bet365. Well, if you bet Dallas tonight, you could have taken advantage of the Bet365 NHL early payout offer, where if your team gains a 3-goal lead, you're automatically a winner. You would have gotten your payout, about halfway through the second tonight? Yeah, Robertson scores that third one at 17:02. So 3 minutes left in the second period. You're already a winner if you had bet with Bet365 tonight. It's that easy. And we have breaking news from Bet365. New customers now get $300 in bonus bets when you bet just $5, win or lose. All you got to do is sign up, use the code PHLY365, deposit $10 and place a bet for 5 to get $5 to get $300 in bonus bets, whether your initial bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary. Bet365 must be 21 plus and physically located in PA. If you or someone who has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Now, I got to tell you, I'm loving the Crooked T. Everyone has their favorite hard tea, but have you ever turned around the can of yours just to see what's inside? Well, most of the time you can't, because they won't tell you. And while others hide what's inside, Crooked Tea brags about it. Crooked Tea brews real USDA organic tea for real flavor with zero sugar. There's no fake junk hiding behind the label. What you see is what you drink. So next time you're at the store, flip the can. If you can't find the ingredients, just put it back. Then grab a Crooked Tea, zero sugar, real tea, and fully transparent. Philly recognizes real. Don't drink the fake stuff. Drink Crooked Tea. The only thing better, it's a strip sack in the Super Bowl. Visit crookedtea.com to find a store near you. All right, Charlie. Yeah, let's talk a little Vladar. Wouldn't say it was his best game. It's not what you want, but also I don't know. It's just my favorite thing. I don't know what he actually could have done tonight. The first period, it's 4-0 immediately, if not for him. And then the rest of the way, it was kind of just average, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, spoiler alert, he's going to be my first star for this game in a game where he gives up 5 goals, because who else are you going to give it to?
Who else is there?
At the very least, Vladar, particularly for the first half of this game, kept them in the game.
Yeah.
They were still, up until like the midpoint of the second period, they were 1 goal, one fluky goal. Gets Audra does a Steve Mason goal and gives a 1-up from center ice, or puck bounces off someone's foot and goes past them. Suddenly, the Flyers are in this game, and then maybe we're still watching because they're in a shootout right now. Like, that could have happened because Vladar, definitely in the first period and well into the second, was playing usual Dan Vladar hockey. And to that point, like, I'm not going to bury him. The only goal that I look at and I'm like, oh, wish he could have gotten a save there, is that third goal. The second goal he allows to Robertson, the third goal he allowed in total, because that's a short side snipe.
Yeah.
That said, Robertson is a really, really good shooter, so I get it to a degree. You still want to save there.
Yeah.
It's a shot. I'm sure if you ask Vladar, he would say he wants that one back. But given all the big saves he made in the first period and the first part of the second, I'm certainly not going to bury him for it. The one thing too that I really liked from Vladar in this game, especially in the first period, but really it lasted the entire game, the Flyers weren't just giving up shots. They were giving up shots with a ton of traffic in front of. I believe the broadcast noted a couple times, but there were guys at the net like every single time the Stars went to take a shot. And you're just looking at it and you're like, how is he seeing pucks? And he was still making saves despite the fact they had everybody in the low slot in the net front area.
And we talked about it last night with the way the Flyers were collapsing. Like, not only is it creating time and space, it is also creating unnecessary traffic. But the Stars themselves were creating so much traffic tonight. I swear, on the first goal, I was like, they have to have too many men on the ice. Like, I was like, I'm like counting in the frame. I was just, I can't imagine that he could have seen that, because I couldn't. And I'm looking at the shooter, like, from behind him. So it was definitely a tough game in the defensive zone. And Tyler just showed us that goalie comparison, and the guy gives up 5 and he's not -1, like above expected. That's okay. -0.86. Yeah, all right. So that one, maybe we could have stopped, maybe not. And Oettinger gives up one. It's like, yeah, he's +1, I guess. And I don't even know when that could have been. Like, when did he stop anything that was the least bit dangerous? I would love to know, because the Flyers just had nothing going. But I think some people, the 2 bad starts in a row with Vladar, Charlie, I was like, uh-oh. He's turning back into a pumpkin.
Right.
I am convinced now he's at least like a decent enough goalie.
Yeah, I am too.
And giving up 5 now, I'm like, yeah, I'm not. Next time he goes in there, I don't think he's going to surrender 5. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and look, Brian Boucher, look, he's obviously always going to take the sides of the goalies.
Oh.
He's part of the goalie guild. He's going to defend the goalies.
You're the head of the PHWA. He is the head of the freaking no, you're Philly hockey writers. What are you, Charlie? You're the union rep, right?
I'm the chapter chair of the
chapter
PHLY.
chair. That's what I was trying to come up with Brian Boucher. That's what he is for the goalie union. It's he is pro goalie 100% of the time, and I can't knock it because I'm anti-goalie.
Yeah, but the point I'm making is that he brought up, and look, he has his bias, but it doesn't mean he's wrong. He brought up the fact that Vladar, and I wrote a whole piece on this right at the start of the season, that Vladar was kind of used as Dustin Wolf's heat shield, that he always got these games in Calgary because they never were giving Dustin Wolf as a rookie the second game of back-to-back with travel. They weren't giving him games against San Jose and Anaheim. You know, it was always Wolf who was getting the games against the worst teams in the division. This was just like maybe a reminder for Vladar of what it was like in Calgary, because these were the kind of games that he like exclusively got in Calgary. He hasn't exclusively gotten them so far as, you know, a Flyers goalie, mostly because like they've been trying to get him as many starts as possible because he's been the better of the 2 goalies.
Yeah.
But this was a very Calgary-esque, you know, type of start that he was getting with the Flames all the time because they were trying to protect Wolf.
No, when Bush made that comment, I meant to write down actually, like, ask Charlie, do you think Bush is a diehard? Like,
maybe.
Now I am sure he talks to Kim Dillabaugh, like I would assume, but I was just like, oh yeah, Charlie did write that whole article basically breaking down this exact point Bush is making, and yeah, that was his usage, and that did kind of suppress his numbers a little bit, but like I was saying, just very few worries about Dan Vladar, even after a game in which he surrenders 5 goals. I'll say 1, like you did. I'll say 1. Maybe he'd want back, and even then, like we said after the Maple Leafs game, getting beat clean and getting beat clean by Austin Matthews are kind of 2 different things. Getting beat clean by Jason Robertson, like, yeah, that might happen. That might happen now and then.
Yeah, sure.
Do we want to do the Michkov stuff now?
We can, because I feel like this is actually going to be an interesting debate, because I'm not nearly as bothered by the usage tonight as I think you might be.
I just think I wasn't bothered by the usage last night. I just think, and he does end up, all right, so Matvei Michkov ends up with 14:35 for most of the game. After the first period, he had the fewest minutes of anybody on the team. For most of the game, he was the 9th forward. Now he ends up being the 8th by about 20 seconds here over Owen Tippett. My thing is, last night, yeah, man, look at that Zegras Dvorak line. Like, just get them out there. I don't care if they play 30 minutes tonight. They might score 9 goals. Tonight, after it's 2-0, let's use this game that they have 0 chance of winning because they have like 1 shot on goal. Let's use this game as a cardio event for Matvei Michkov. Matvei Michkov still not in great shape. He's going to be after this game. Let's double shift him. Also, he had all of the team shots on goal. 5 of their 21 shots, which is a pretty decent percentage for one man to have of a team shot total. I'm not saying he was particularly great tonight. I'm just saying the few times Jim Jackson's voice went up, it was maybe Matvei Michkov.
Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, he finishes with 5 shots on goal, as you mentioned. He certainly was involved in some quality chances. So I'm not saying he was bad. I don't think he was bad, though I will get into one mistake I suspect he made that we can talk about a little bit later that was a mistake at a pivotal point. The reason why I'm just not that annoyed by the ice time is because it's abundantly clear looking at the ice time for everybody in this game that they were basically just rolling lines. Like, yes, Michkov finishes with 14:35. Okay, you could say, oh, it would have been nice to get him, maybe another 2 minutes, maybe another 3 minutes. But then you got like Noah Cates, the guy who the coach loves. He got what? 35 seconds more.
Yeah.
Travis Konechny gets a minute 30 more. The guy who leads the forward core in ice time got 17:15. Like, they just weren't piling the minutes onto anyone. So
that is a fair point.
So I think that's why it came away from this like, oh, it was the second game of back-to-back. They were very clearly just like, all right, first line, second line, third line, fourth line, let's start over. First line, second line, third line, fourth line, let's start over. Now, could you make a case that, okay, well, you're trailing in this game, they should have been trying to get Michkov and Zegras out there as much as possible? Yeah, I'm open to that case. But I just think that the game plan from the coaching staff in this game, like, this wasn't let's bury Michkov. This was more like no one's going to get a lot of time because we played last night and it's the second game of back-to-back.
And listen, we talked about that last night and pregame today. I thought the number one reason we were going to see Grebenkin is, listen, the schedule is what it is, and because of that, you're probably going to have to roll lines a little better. And when Deslauriers's out there, they don't like to give that line more than like 7 minutes. Maybe with Grebenkin, you can, and you see the totals for they're all over 11 minutes.
Yeah.
Abel's 11:14, Grebenkin 12:24, Hathaway over 13. You got that line out there a little bit more, and understandable because it is the back-to-back. It was annoying to me for no other reason, honestly, than I thought of a funny joke. Hey, he's not in good shape. He can be after tonight. Like, I understand that's not how like the cardiovascular conditioning works. I did used to be an athlete. But like, I don't know, just like pile it on him and see how it goes. But at the same time, it's a back-to-back. If the whole team's kind of gassed, why get Zegras and Michkov injured? That's a great way. That is a great way to like tear something, being on tired legs. So I get that as well. I just think like 14 minutes is just not enough in a game that you were chasing the whole way. At no point was your offense going. At no point was there another line where you were like, oh, well, I got to get them back out there. Like everyone flat out sucked tonight. Like, I don't know how else to put it. So let's just kind of get two birds stoned at once here. See if Michkov can get something going, and hey, increase his workload. Get him in a little bit better shape. Maybe both work out. But in the end, it wouldn't have mattered. Everyone was dead. They all sucked.
No, it would have just mattered in the sense that like people would have been happier that Michkov finally got 18 minutes a night. Like that would have been. I don't think it would have changed the outcome of the game.
No.
The one play I did want to highlight though, with regards to Michkov, and the reason why I didn't tweet specifically about Michkov after this play is because I'm not 100% sure it was on him, but I think it probably was. It's the second goal of the game. And the second goal of that Dallas scores, it's still 1-0 at that point. They score the second goal, then it's basically over. Like that to me is the turning point of that game. You could still fluke into one goal, then it's 1-1, and then Dallas is looking at themselves on the bench like, how the heck is this game tied? This is insane. We've been killing this team, and we're not even leading anymore. In that goal, it basically becomes a 4-on-2 going the other way. That's the goal where Sagan's pass, not really a pass, ends up going to Robertson. He scores. But it becomes a 4-on-2 because the Flyers have 3 forwards below the dots on the forecheck trying to recover a dump in. And watching the play on replay, it does look like Michkov is the last guy in. And my guess is that he's the guy who's supposed to like not go in. If you have Couturier and Konechny going in on the forecheck, even if you're doing an aggressive chase down to the puck, the third guy should not also be that deep. Now, Miro Heiskanen, because he's an amazing defenseman, makes a great play. He chips it up the boards, gets it around, I believe, Couturier, and then they're off to the races going the other way. But there should have been one guy out of those 3 that was the high man, that prevents against it being a 4-on-2 where you're just screwing over your defenseman. I think it was probably Michkov. I don't know for sure. Someone messed up, and I think it was probably Michkov. And if it was, like, that just plays into, again, why Tocchet might not be the most excited about giving him, 19 minutes right now.
And that is, like, if you're down 2-3 nothing and you get caught deep, like, price of doing business. Someone has to create some offense. But in the 1-goal game, it just has to be situational. It's not like you don't want him taking risks. Obviously, you do. That's how goals happen, by taking risks. But they have to be calculated, and there has to be, a ratio of it paying off. So I can absolutely see that. I think they pointed that out on the broadcast at one point. So perhaps you did nail that one. That is an annoying play, and we talked about that with like Grabenkin before during pregame as well.
Sure.
Like, it's those little details that are going to keep you from earning the coach's trust. He knows you're good. He knows you can stick handle. He knows you can score, but what about all the other times? And so I guess I understand that a little. It's just, I don't know. Let's just see what happens if no one is doing anything. This team established no forecheck. They had no dangerous chances. I don't know if there was a rebound the entire game. No one did anything. So just put Michkov out there and see if he gets one, because he's better than somebody. Because he is. He's better than a lot of guys.
I'm waiting for you, because this was a classic Bill rant from years ago, where you're just like completely apoplectic, and you're just like, well, what are they going to do? Lose? They already do that.
Well, yeah, just I don't know, man. Only a few guys on this team are capable of scoring. It's like Tippett every now and then. Zegras, he likes to set it up a little more, but for somehow he has 6. Dvorak, because he's getting passes from Zegras. And then there's Matvei Michkov. These are the guys who could score on this team this year, and get them out there as much as possible. But that apparently wasn't the plan tonight. And quite honestly, the game stunk. So what the hell was anyone going to do? All right, we are going to come back. We are going to have PHLY Stars later in tonight's show. I'm going to talk about potentially splitting up that Kate's line. There's plenty more to come, but right now I got to tell you about Bucci Jewelers. Fellas, we all know the feeling. You walk into that jewelry store, you're trying to pick out something for your partner, and suddenly you realize you are in way over your head. You're thinking, what's the difference between all these diamonds? What if they don't like it? I'm about to spend all this money, and I have no idea what I'm doing. That is stressful, and that's why working with Joe and Michelle at Bucci's Jewelry and Design has been such a game changer. These guys make the whole process seamless. From the minute you walk in, they treat you like family, because they actually listen and they help you figure out what they're gonna love, and their team designs something completely custom right there in-house. There's no pressure, no pushy sales vibe, just good people who love what they do. And the end result? Something you're proud to give, and they'll never forget. So next time you need the perfect piece, go see Joe and Michelle at Bucci's Jewelry and Design. 30 plus years in the game, voted Philly's #1 jeweler year after year. Over 1,000 5-star reviews speak for themselves. Check them out today at BucciJewelers.com and tell them the guys at PHLY sent you. And while we're here, it's game time, baby. That's right. Game time I've been telling you for years. Game Time is my absolute favorite secondary ticket marketplace because of things like the zone deals, where you can save even more when you choose a section, but let Game Time choose the seats for you. And the seat view, you get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. And of course, the low price guarantee, where Game Time will credit you 100% of the difference if you find tickets in the same section and row somewhere else. Game Time takes all of the guesswork out of buying NHL tickets, so download the Game Time app today, create an account, and use code PHLY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code PHLY for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today. I do, in fact, love Game Time. Use them quite regularly.
It's a good app.
All right, Charlie, let us get to the Ace Hardware Home Services temperature check. Let's take a look at what player is heating up or cooling off with our Ace Hardware temp check. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project. Can't say anyone's hot coming out of tonight. I guess Christian Dvorak he got the goal.
He keeps scoring goals.
He's got 6 goals on the season. He remains pretty hot. But I want to use this segment to talk about the Noah Cates line, Charlie. Okay. Forster, Cates, Brink.
You're just mad you lost all your bets.
Yeah, that is why I am upset, quite honestly. We're splitting them up, one bad game, and it's time for them all to go, probably. No, listen, I am just wondering, as we see, it's been a bunch of games since they have been offensively effective, that maybe it's time to start reworking the responsibilities of certain guys on this team or on this line. Noah Cates is going to get the usage of old Sean Couturier, or I guess young Sean Couturier. Y'all know what I mean. That guy, the defensive shutdown guy. That means they are out there against first lines a whole lot. They're pretty good in those situations, but does that kind of limit how much Brink and especially Forster can do offensively because they have so much defensive responsibility, Charlie?
Maybe. And I think maybe you saw Tocchet open the door to
Yeah.
that possibility in the second half of the game, because he does, I believe it was like in the third period. Maybe it started in the second. I have to go back and look and see when the first shift was. But he does juggle the lines. He keeps the Dvorak line together, which, like, fair. It was incredible on Friday night. They actually do end up producing the team's only goal. So sure, good call, keeping that one together. But he does flip-flop Konechny and Brink. He puts
Yes.
Brink up with Couturier and Michkov and moves Konechny down to play with Cates and Forrester. The addition of Konechny, like putting Brink on the line with Couturier and Michkov, like whatever, maybe it'll work. Sometimes, interesting combos just do better than you think. To me, the interesting part about this was Konechny down with Forrester and Cates. Because look, Travis Konechny is a lot of things, a lot of good things. What he is not is a defensive stalwart. He never has been. He never will be. So if you're putting Konechny on that line, you're not doing it because you're planning to use Noah Cates as the hard match up against Connor McDavid type guy. You're putting Travis Konechny on that line because you want to maybe get a little bit more offense out of Tyson Forrester, a little bit more offense out of Noah Cates. That's interesting to me. Now, again, it has its drawbacks, the main drawback being you probably don't feel as comfortable using Noah Cates in a shutdown role if Travis Konechny is on his wing. But it does give that line more offensive firepower. And you're right. They haven't been scoring that well over the last few games. Maybe it is time to shake things up a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know what even combinations like, oh, okay, and I want to see this and this. I'm not even positive I have something in mind. I have wanted to see Forster with Michkov
Yeah, I think a
for
lot
a
of people do.
while.
Yeah.
Like that's a duo I want to see. I just am like, I don't know what center am I using on that line. If it's Couturier, like I don't know, that's the slowest line in the league. Probably
Fair.
don't want that. If
Yeah.
it's Cates, we're in the same situation where okay, so do we have a defensive guy we can use in that hard match, or are we expecting more offense out of Noah Cates, who, listen, we were excited about the way he started the year, but there was a little bit of the pump the brakes. He's probably not a 60-point player, thing going on. And then do you want to split up the Dvorak line because they've been pretty damn good over the last couple of games? So I'm not even positive how I want that to go, but it's something I'm interested in. And when I see them go into a little bit of an offensive slump, I start thinking, okay, here's that opportunity. Because in pregame, we were saying, Tocchet likes to has been mixing around the lines. Feels like we found something with these three combos, but it does feel as if we're just kind of mixing and matching in terms of 6 instead of 9 guys because one line is set and forget as long as Forster is healthy. And maybe this is that opportunity to look at some different things. That's just what I was thinking tonight.
It might be. And as I said, given the juggling they did in the second half of the game, maybe Tocchet is opening himself up to the idea. It's interesting. I share your intrigue about the possibility of a Michkov Forrester pairing, but I also share your trepidation in the sense that I just don't know if they have, like, to me, the center of that line is Jet
Luchenko.
But Jet Luchenko isn't here,
Yeah.
and we don't know even when he gets here if he's going to be offensively gifted enough to be the guy you even want between those guys at all. But he is the archetype. They just don't have him. Right now, honestly, the combo that I'm intrigued to see, I wonder if they're ever going to try it. I'd be intrigued to see Michkov with Cates. I'd really be intrigued to see what they now. Obviously, you couldn't use Noah Cates as a shutdown center if you have him with Matvei Michkov, but Cates does sort of bring some of the same things that Couturier brings to the table, except he's younger and not coming off of 2 back surgeries.
Just wonder. So Cates, and I know you hate line talk, and I'm fine. I understand. It's just like Charlie, we have to contractually fill an hour, and I just watched maybe the most boring game I've ever watched. And one guy scored a hat trick. That's how bad that game was. But who would you then have on the most likely right wing on that line? Would you want to go TK in that situation?
Maybe. I mean, I might even try Zegras.
All right. I wouldn't hate that. You have
Just
two
load up
centers,
on the offense. Load up on the
two
offense.
centers, neither of whom can win a face-off, but
It's fair, yeah.
that's fine. Yeah, I'd definitely be interested in that if that's the way we get Zegras and Michkov back together, and we can finally like give that more than 4 periods of hockey in a row or something before the coach gets nervous and breaks it up. I'd definitely be interested in that. But yeah, I just watching the team tonight, and yes, there was some bias because I bet all 3 guys to put up a point, and none did. Watching that Kate's line tonight, it was just kind of all right. It just didn't have the feel of, I said before the game why I was betting on them. If they're going to have a chance against Dallas in this situation, it's going to be because the get right line has one of those games. And they didn't. They in fact didn't do anything more than anybody else in this game. So I maybe this is that opportunity, but I guess once again, doesn't matter. Like, this was just a game they were never ever going to win. And I feel like the broadcast knew that, Charlie, because man, they had some Phantoms and some NCAA and some Guelph, some OHL highlights all queued up, ready to go.
They sure did.
You ready to see Bumper Barkey? You ready? Call him up.
I mean, they're looking good, man. Look, I think the plan with Barkey has always been probably give him the full year. You know, maybe if he's doing real good, you give him a cup of coffee at the end of the year. Maybe if there's a rash of injuries, you give him a couple games to show him that, you know, hey, we believe in you. You're part of this. Bumps the guy who I think is close. And now that he's scoring, because look, he did some good things in camp and in preseason. Obviously, by the end, it was clear he needed to go back. He was making some big mistakes. He had that awful mistake behind the net. It was like, oh, yeah, he ain't making this team. But there were other games where he was creating, where he was making plays. It was just that he was snake bitten and he was getting knocked off the puck too easily. If he's playing with more confidence now, he has to be a guy you consider. The issue, however, is just where. Like, where does he fit? I think Bump is now pushing for a spot, and he might now be in the position where the next time a clear-cut top-9 winger gets hurt, he might be the guy. Even if it's a clear-cut top-9 center, because maybe then you just move Zegras back to the middle and you call Bump up to be a wing. So maybe it's just top-9er in general. I think Bump is putting himself in that position, but if everyone's healthy, I'm just not sure where he fits. Like, how do you get him the minutes you want to get him?
My theory that I'm starting to develop is Nikita Grabenkin's just his placeholder. That's maybe, but do I want him playing 4th line?
I don't think
it's something I kind of penciled in earlier in the season or before the season when I was like, yeah, but it can be that role of the 10th forward, not the 4th liner, you know, where you figure out other areas for him. But as we've said that about Grabenkin and Luchenko and lots of guys, and it hasn't panned out.
Exactly.
I don't trust them to actually do that. So
that was my thought. Yeah, when you were saying that was my thought. It's like I said I'm fine with Luchenko making this team as a 4th liner, but you got to be giving him some extra shifts up the lineup. Maybe play him on the power play. And Tocchet showed no interest in doing that, which definitely decreases my confidence that he would show interest in doing that for Alex Bump if Bump's the 4th line left wing.
All right, Chuck, real quick here before our last break. The defensive ice time's kind of interesting to me because Andre and Juleson join York and Sanheim in the 20-plus minute club. They all play in the 21 range, basically all have the same ice time. And then Drysdale and Sealer get 3rd pair minutes. Do you think this is just, well, you know, Andre was going a little bit. Maybe Drysdale and Sealer didn't have their best game. What do you think of that new 3rd pair? Has Andre elevated Juleson to top 4 defenseman?
No, I do not think so. I think this was entirely a game's out of hand. Let's give the 3rd pair a look because we have the opportunity to see. Like, it would be one thing if I thought Andre and Juleson were really good in this game, but they weren't. And the advanced metrics, I mean, I'm looking at the advanced metrics right now. Andre and Juleson are at the bottom of the expected goal share charts, just purely on Philadelphia Flyers, but I can't imagine anybody on the Stars were worse. Juleson finished with a 9% expected goal share, and Andre was at 13%. Now, look, I'm not saying that these guys make their decisions, the coaches make their decisions based on advanced metrics, but they were not good. They were also, if you remember, they were the pair that does that line change that leads to the Seguin goal. Like, the pair was not good. I think this was entirely a like, well, this game's over. Let's give these guys like an opportunity to build some chemistry, because when the games are tight, we're not necessarily going to be as willing to give them 20 minutes.
No, yeah, that's kind of that does kind of seem like a more logical thing. And your idea, like, well, they're not making their decision. If it's single digits, if it's 9 or 13%, then everyone is seeing the same thing, whether you're looking at numbers or not. It's
exactly.
Oh, they were on defense the whole game. Like, that's basically 9 or 13. That's zero. That is zero.
Andre did have a really nice hit on Foxa. That was good.
That's one of those use your size to your advantage when you're small, when you can get under, when you can use that leverage. That was a nice hit.
That was impressive.
But yeah, they were Andre and Juleson, certainly not the only group of guys who weren't very good tonight, but I don't think we should read into the 21 minutes they got. All right, let's take our last break, Tyler. Are you ready for the ultimate Flyers getaway? Well, you better be, because PHLY and Philly Sports Strips are taking over California. That's right, it's a Cali takeover, and we're not going alone. We're bringing number 10 Flyers legend John LeClair with us. We're heading out from March 17th to the 22nd. We're hitting the West Coast for 2 huge games. First, we're going to see the Anaheim Ducks at Honda Center, and then it's the LA Kings at Crypto.com Arena. Your package includes optional round-trip direct flights from Philly, a 5-night stay at the beautiful Sanborn, Santa Monica, group tickets to the games, a Flyers watch party, and an exclusive meet and greet with John LeClair himself. Plus, the Philly Sports Strips crew will be there to handle every detail, so you can just enjoy the sun, the sights, and the hockey. This is the California vacation every Flyers fan dreams of, and hopefully we get a couple of wins to top it off. Spots are limited. This thing is going to sell out. Book your trip today at allphly.com/events. And now it's time to tell you about Factor, because listen, we're all busy. We all have a lot going on. And when the days get short in the fall, I don't know about you, but our show ends at 5 most days. I get home 5:30, 5:45. It feels like 10 o'clock at night. I don't feel like cooking. And that's where Factor has been so huge. Factor has more variety and more meals than ever. You can choose from a wider selection of weekly meal options, including premium seafood choices like salmon and shrimp at no extra cost. And you can support your wellness goals as well. Enjoy even more GLP-1 friendly meals and new Mediterranean diet options packed with protein and good for you fats. All of this, the combinations, the better nutrition, that's led to 97% of customers saying that Factor helped them live a healthier life. So feel the difference no matter your routine. Eat smart at factormeals.com/PHLY50off and use code PHLY50off to get 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. That's code PHLY50off at factormeals.com for 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. Get delicious, ready-to-eat meals delivered with Factor. Offer only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. All right, Charlie. Yeah, it's time now for Charlie O'Connor's 3 stars of the game. And, buddy, good luck with this one. Who the hell do you have for star number 3?
Yeah, I swear I'm not picking him to troll, but I'm gonna go with Owen Tippett, because number one, and this is honestly the biggest reason why. There was a play in the second period where he dances around a Dallas defenseman, creates a quality chance. Zegras almost scores on a rebound. And then for the next 6, 7, 8 minutes, the Flyers were the better team. They were creating chances. And there is an alternate reality where we're looking back on that play as the turning point of the game when the Flyers woke up and they score on one of those chances. And then it's like, hey, Owen Tippett making the big play. Now, that did not happen, but Tippett did seem like he had his legs. He picks up a primary assist on the Dvorak goal. Like, that's a goal that Tippett primarily creates. Look, he wasn't good in this game, but no one was good. Tippett at least made a couple plays. So I'm giving Owen Tippett third star.
You know what? He's as deserving as anyone. I'm pretty sure in the instant reactions I wrote, it was like, yeah, this is the most exciting thing that happened so far. Someone almost did something. Yeah, well, that's absolutely fine. Who is star number 2?
Star number 2 is Travis Sanheim, entirely because he literally saved a goal.
That goal, yeah.
Yeah, that was like, what, 2 or 3 shifts into the game, and Wyatt Johnson staring at a wide open net, and Travis Sanheim saves a goal. Yeah, purely on that, he gets second star for saving a goal.
Sure, fine. Who do you got for number 1 tonight, Charlie?
Yeah, number 1's Dan Vladar. And again, this is a guy with an .821 save percentage in this game, is the first star. That's
I mean, it's tough in a 5-1 game to be like, it would have been worse. But specifically the first period, I would have lost interest in this game entirely and maybe put on something else and come in here and made stuff up in post game because it would have been 5-0 in the first. I've never done that. I'm not allowed. Maybe on New Year's this year. We'll see. But yeah, Vladar, especially in the first period, I think is the only reason this game wasn't out of hand even sooner.
They could have been down 3-0, 4-0 at the end of 20 minutes. Instead, it was at least a game until around the midpoint of the second period. So Dan Vladar, certainly not his best performance, not a terrible performance by any means. And there were extended stretches of this game where I thought Vladar actually might steal this game for the Flyers. First star, Dan Vladar.
All right, that makes sense. First star, Dan Vladar. We're getting used to that one. Let's hit the super chats, Tyler. It seems like we're up to double digits in super chats tonight. I don't know how. I got to tell you, our listeners, we call them sickos, and like you are. I love you all so much. I say this in the nicest possible way. Anyone who sat through that game, actually, you're the first star.
I laughed the minute I saw that super chat.
I didn't even read it.
So
Timbo
good.
Slice, first super chat, bad. Yeah, that was...
adding the period just makes it even better.
No, it's like it's a declarative sentence. It is one word. It is a full sentence. It is a perfect description of what we just watched. That was a bad hockey game. It was boring. Like, it was just uninteresting. Bad. Perfect. Way to go, Timbo. No notes. All right. Next one here is from JH. LMAO playing the Always Sunny theme in the arena. Teams like to troll us with that a little bit. I thought it was Entourage night in there at one point. They played the Entourage theme song and then like 3 or 4 songs that were definitely like featured in the show at one point. I'm a big fan, so I recognize it. But at one point I was like, is it Entourage night? That would be a really funny thing to do in Dallas.
That would be a heck of a theme night. Yeah. And there was one point where, and I want to ask, one of my friends is a big Stars fan. I want to ask her, why did they play Hallelujah? Like, I felt like I was in a church. There was a one point they were literally playing like Hallelujah, Hallelujah. Is this a bit? Is this like some sort of in-arena game they play? Because I have never once heard a church hymn played at a hockey game.
It's the deep South, man. I don't know. All right. All right. The next one here is from Righteous Reprogramming. This is the first time I've ever read this name.
Okay.
Can we talk about Sealer and his team worst? -8 going into tonight. He is bad, but flies under the radar.
Yeah, I don't think I agree with you, Mr. Righteous Reprogramming, but you're never going to convince me of anything by citing plus minus. I think it's the biggest waste of a stat in hockey history. So I'm open to the idea that Sealer has not been as good this year as he's been in past years. That said, Drysdale has been better, and I have to say that Sealer probably deserves some of the credit for that, given the fact that he is the stabilizing presence on that pair. But like, you're never going to convince me with plus minus. I hate the stat; it's terrible.
Yeah, it's just Jeff Marek said it on his show the other day. And, like, he's as old school a hockey guy as they get. And he's just like, listen, it's a stat that's just like, what's your shooting percentage, what's your save percentage? Like, that's just what it is. Okay, sometimes the other team scores, and you're think about the minus those 5 guys got tonight
That's
because
true.
one line just decided we quit. It's your turn.
Sealer was one of the guys who got that minus for no
Yes,
fault of his own, just because
exactly.
five other guys decided, yeah, I'm done with this
Yeah,
crap.
we're done. We're going home. We're getting the hot water. This is on you. All right. The next one here is from Timbo again. Why not us? Well, this game will be Exhibit A, B, C, and D. It went away, Tyler. I can't say it. It was this. Okay. A, B, C, D, and E for exactly why not us. Saw my first hat trick in person. My God, that game was awful. Yeah, that was. Oh man, to see the first hat trick in person is the opposing team. That stinks. But I'm glad you got to go. I'm sorry you had to pay to see that. That is the downfall of live events, especially like sport competitions. I don't think I've ever left a concert, maybe once, where I've been like, yeah, they didn't have it tonight. But that was a game where if I had paid to see it, I'd be like, God, really? Like I deserve some of my money back, quite honestly.
That is fair. And I will say, Timbo, like, this was a bad game, but as we've noted both in pregame and postgame, this was very difficult circumstances for the Flyers. So I'm not going to bury them for this game. There have been other games they played this year that were not in terrible circumstances that I would bury them for. This is more of like yeah, they were always probably going to lose this one. That said, like, I don't think anyone should be deluding themselves into thinking that this Flyers team is a cup contender. Like, they're not. We all know that.
No, nobody believes that. All right, next one up is JH. How much? I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Energy from the dads in the locker room tonight. It was funny because we were like joking, Charlie and I watching the game in the studio last night. Like these guys are just they got hockey dads. They don't want to disappoint them. Yeah, especially first night of the trip. Tonight probably just more understandable. But the dads are having their fun too. They went to a rodeo apparently.
Yeah, I saw the picture. That seems cool. It stinks because I feel bad talking up Dallas because like it is the home of the Cowboys and screw the Cowboys. But like Dallas is a fun place to go out, and it's kind of a bummer for them that they don't get to enjoy it. But I guess they got to go to a rodeo during the day, so sure.
I've only been once, and it was in 2004, so I wasn't really in like prime going out age, sophomore of high school with my dad. So
But no, good restaurants, good
yeah,
bars. There's some outdoor places, some rooftop places that I've been to. I've always had a good time when I've been to Dallas.
definitely had several good steaks there while I was there. All right, let's see the next one from Anthony. If I'm a player's dad tonight, I'm grounding him no TV for a week. Here's the thing about taking away screen time. You got to entertain those kids. Like, you're actually punishing yourself unless like you have something planned beyond that. Something I have learned as Uncle Bill to many kids over the years. All right, let's see. From Gary B.
Gary B.
Danny B should sell the farm if Jason Robertson is somehow available. Outside Misha and TK, he's my favorite player in the league, non-flyer. Oh, like sell the farm outside of Misha and TK. Okay, I understand. And he's your favorite player in the league. Got it. Yeah, they need a center, man.
Robertson's a really good player, and if
He's awesome.
He's absolutely the kind of guy you call and you ask about. And if like for whatever reason they really like Owen Tippett, hell yeah. But
absolutely,
I don't think I'm trading like Porter Martone for him.
No, I just don't know how many more resources we can put into this position of strength, Charlie. Yeah. All right, let's get the next one in before overtime. DA Flyers man says, someone tell Forster to stop blocking shots. That was a little like, oh, here we go again with this. But it seemed like he was all right, I guess. He stayed in the game. We'll see.
We'll see.
It didn't seem like it was broken or anything. Like if he couldn't grip a stick, I think that would have been more apparent. But yeah, this gotta just bubble wrap these guys. Yeah. I know he got hit in the hand, Charlie. I feel like I don't hear about skate guards anymore at all. Is that still a thing?
Honestly, like, don't ask me questions about hockey equipment because there are some people, like some beat writers, there are like some that really get into it. It's generally speaking the beat writers who also play beer hockey. I don't. So like I just don't have the background, like especially the like current day background to be able to ask guys about like specifics of equipment. So maybe, but I don't know.
All right. And with that, we're headed to overtime. Go to allphly.com to keep watching tonight's program. All right, let's finish up the super chats here as we get to Colleen Goodman. Oh, stop with the Michkov defensive laps. All of the players make them, but he's the only one penalized for it. It's really annoying.
He makes them more than most.
His are like, you can get beat. Guys get beat all the time.
Yeah.
That happens because sometimes the other team makes a play. He does seem to be the one who just drifts. And it's like, dog, you're over here. You're supposed to be over here. Like, and that's always a coach thing. It does kind of sometimes feel like everyone is, and it's because there's so much conversation about him too,
Sure.
but there is this hyper focus on like, well, this is what he doesn't do, and this is what he does do. And it's, I'm going to cite Jeff Marek again. He said, this used to be a thing among coaches that it isn't anymore. Like, everyone has to be a 200-foot, well-rounded player. Coaches back in the day used to say, if I have a 30-goal scorer, it's my job to make him a 40-goal scorer. Not, I have a 30-goal scorer. Imagine if I can get him some Selke votes, too. And I do think there is a little too much of that in terms of everyone has to be the same guy. Like, Down Goes Brown always talks about, oh, you're in trouble as soon as your team starts talking about we got to find our identity, because every team in the league has the same identity, or at least wants it. Like, I guess the Ducks are scoring a bunch of goals and not defending, don't care. But they're like
Joel Quenneville hockey, basically.
Yeah, but they're young and like it's driving Pat Verbeek nuts anyway. Like, even though they're winning, like every team in the league wants to win 2-1. Like, that's your identity. Great. There is like, I don't know, let them loose a little, but everyone else has to make up for it, and I don't know if they're good enough to do that yet. All right, next one from Brendan Martin. Shout out to my brothers Blake. He loves the legend himself, Noah Cates.
Right. Sure. I guess just his brother Blake is a big Noah Cates fan. Shout out Blake.
Love it. So are we. All right, next one here is from Julian Yeager. I wonder when their scheduled obligatory 10-game losing streak will happen, let alone scheduled loss. Been like that for the last 4 years, it seems.
Have they had a 10-game losing streak in a while? I feel like this is just like trauma from the Dave Haxtell era.
I do think I don't remember if it got to 10 like when things really started to fall apart at the end of the year where they were in the playoffs, and then like it was based on goaltending, and then the goalie went away, and then it's just kind of came apart. I feel like
they did lose a lot at the end. You're right. Yeah.
There was like that real bad Toronto game in there. I feel like I don't remember if it got to 10 though. All right, next one here. It has been a while, I do think though. From Timbo. Oh, it was SNL all night.
I guess that was the theme of the arena, I guess.
Okay.
That's probably why we got the hallelujah and whatever. It probably was like a skit.
Longest losing streak last year was 6 years. It was 6, Tyler tells me. So at least last year they didn't lose 10 in a row. And they were the 4th worst team in hockey? They lost 10 in a row and made the playoffs once. They're slackers. All right, let's see. From DA Flyers, man. Remember when we had a 10-game losing streak and a 10-game winning streak the same season? Did they do it the same year?
I thought it was back-to-back
opposing years.
Yeah, I thought it was
streak missed playoffs.
Yes,
losing streak made playoffs.
Did
they do it in the same year?
I do not believe it was the same year. I think it was back-to-back years.
Okay. Do we have any more? That's it. That is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers postgame today. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for hanging out. You know the drill. Follow us here on YouTube. We'll be back with our show on Monday. Make sure you're following us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers. And make sure you follow the podcast. Just search PHLY Flyers. I am Bill Matz. That is Charlie O'Connor. Thank you to Tyler Zulli for producing. Be excellent to each other.
We all silly like the mayor.